So what we do is that we are helping large enterprises to have complete supply chain visibility.
You started with intention for being a
Non-for-profit. We are around 4 million in ARR.
So 4 million euros in recurring revenue. I bet you could actually hit the 100 million.
And we always believe that this is a $100 million product. Now what happened is when the regulations have come in,
So Shameek, thanks for joining me. It's so awesome to have you on the show. And we just gathered here at Mykonos, right? A beautiful, beautiful location. 40 SaaS founders meeting at this conference. And I'm so happy that I got to know you. And I think you have one of the most promising outlooks in the future of all the people I talked to. So thanks for being here.
My pleasure, absolutely. I think it has been such a pleasure to meet you and also the 40 other peers from the industry.
Thank you so much. So our goal is always to enable young founders to get in behind of the stories, right? That the founders have to overcome in the beginning, right, in order to build their business. And I would be really, really interested to learn more about you. So are you open for that?
Yes, absolutely.
Happy. So Shameek, you started Trust Trade, right? Can you tell us a little bit about it? When did you start? How many co-founders did you have? How did you come up with the idea in the early beginning?
So actually we are 4 co-founders and we used to work together in a large Indian software services outsourcing firm. We've worked almost 7-8 years together and we were working together to deliver large digital transformation programs to ABB, Volvo, Ericsson kind of companies.
So it's a service-based business?
It was services business. Effectively, we were selling consulting hours and our development teams back in India and in Europe. That's what we were doing. But when we were developing this digital transformation program, like for ABB, we were helping them to develop a complete IoT platform. So we started believing that this is the way you should build the business, not only sell consulting hours.
So you discovered this problem, right? And then said, what can we do with it, right?
Exactly. So ABB wanted to build this platform. We were building it for them. We were taking the specifications. But when we were building it, it was very evident that the potential of a platform like this is much bigger.
Yeah, it is.
And then we said that, hey, in the corporate structures, maybe this is not getting very evident. But it was not something that we wanted to take it up entrepreneurially, but it was just an open discussion about it. What happened in 2015 is I quit this large Indian IT services company called HCL.
So get in 100%?
No, actually then I moved into another services company. And in that company, along with that, I also joined an executive MBA. So my personal journey was that I joined this executive MBA, which is Triumph. And in that, we had to take up a capstone project, which is either an entrepreneurial project or intrapreneurial project. And I picked up an entrepreneurial project. Had loads of fun. We were 4 people in that. It was an engineer, a doctor, one sales guy, and another sort of a startup, like late stage startup leader kind of a person there. And we actually built an online art marketplace there, and it was great fun for me. So that is when I started changing my mind that maybe I should do something on my own. And when I started discussing this, then I finished my MBA program, and when I came back, I started talking to my ex-colleagues who were now somebody was in the same company, 2 others had left that company, and one founder had actually moved back to India and said that because he had faced a lot of issues in his, he comes from southern part of India, and in that part there is their farmland was affected by water pollution coming from a river.
Now we're getting to the cause.
Exactly. Okay. So then what happened for us is that we said that, hey, we should do something to solve this problem. But whether we should do it for commercial or for non-for-profit, we were not very sure. So we said that, okay, let's start some activities in this space. So it was with the intention of being non-for-profit, and we started doing this.
You started with intention for being a non-for-profit.
So
we just wanted to do good.
Exactly, because we had our corporate jobs, and then we said that we'll start doing it. And we were we did not come from the fashion industry. So we said that we will start creating a list of good actors and bad actors and share it with the Western brands there. And the Western brands then can look at it and then say that, okay, this is the supplier we should place the order, this is the supplier we should not place the order. But when we started talking about that to Scandinavian brands, they said that, hey, we have enough of this list. Can you get more details? Can you give us more supply chain visibility?
So they demanded more out of your
visible.
company, right?
Exactly.
That's
And
wonderful.
that is when the problem became very interesting and exciting at the scale of a typically a large corporates program like that. And then we said that, okay, we'll set up a company. And then we got, so one founder went full time into it initially, and the three were working and supporting the idea. Then the second founder got full time into it, and then 2019 we all got full time into it. So what we do is that we are helping large enterprises to have complete supply chain visibility. So we help them at a product level to know their tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 suppliers, get a lot of data about these suppliers and the facilities, about how it is going there, what is the environmental, social, ethical aspects going on there, if there are any red flags there, and then they have a means to monitor them and improve the supplier facilities performance. And the third thing we do is that when the product is made, we track the complete flow of materials, because we want to increase the percentage of sustainable materials like organic cotton, fair trade materials, etc., etc.
So the brands can be sure
Yes.
that their supply chain is in order and they respect like where it does come from,
Correct.
how people are treated, how the materials where they come from, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important to
So
them, and that's the
we
business.
say that what you don't measure will not improve. So now with this whole process, you are able to measure, monitor, take actions, and it create the complete closed loop of feedback.
Wonderful. Well, that's a great story.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Wow. So if you think of this early stage when you were starting this business with your co-founders, right? Did you have to overcome some obstacles? And yes, how did you do it? And what did you learn from that?
Yeah, I think the journeys, I think we had a lot of obstacles, because first of all, traceability is not a well-defined market.
Yeah.
In fact, for us to call it product traceability also took some amount of time. We were searching what is it called in the industry and all that, but finally we found that in the pharma industry there's a topic of traceability, so we copied the term traceability from there. But yeah, it's a new developing category. It's not a category that exists, right? So which means that you have to do a lot with the industry to explain why they need traceability. So I think the first 2 to 3 years we had to do a lot of explanation to the industry why traceability is necessary. We worked a lot with setups like Fashion for Good and all that. So it was one of the biggest challenges.
So yesterday you said something about you had the feeling it's a blue ocean. Can you maybe explain to people what this means and why it's different to like other situations in the market?
So if you look at, I'm putting it from the eyes of a challenge, right?
Yes.
Hey, it is a new category. You have to work a lot to build up the category. But the positive side of the same thing is that it is not an area which is full of competition. So there is no but competition. You define the market, you define the category, and that. So it's a blue ocean opportunity.
Do you think that's a good thing?
It's a very good thing.
It's a good thing.
So it's a good thing if you accept that you will have to do a lot of education.
Okay. And that's the challenge.
That's a challenge.
It's attached to the good thing.
But we have to also understand, you have to weigh in now. If you look at the Creative versus the Apple story in whatever late 90s, Creative came with an MP3 player, and they used to call it MP3 player and all that. They actually were leaders in the category. But then comes Apple with this whole ecosystem play of iPod and music store and all that kind of thing, right? So first movers who are category leaders also need to be very, very focused that if I create the category, I should own the category.
Yes.
That is the difficult part, right? So for us, yes, in this we are creating a category, but the interesting and the most important thing for us is to ensure that we own this category also. We have the more than 60% market share of the space there.
Could you say that that's kind of similar like HubSpot did it with the inbound marketing, right? They created the word, the inbound marketing in general, right? And that's how they created the space, created this industry, right?
Yes.
And that's what you did for yourself as well. There was no traceability market, right?
Yeah.
And you saw the opportunity because the companies were demanding a solution out of your company. And you created this industry,
yes,
and then you framed it and named it, right?
Yeah, I would say we are creating this industry. And so again, I think HubSpot still came in the CRM industry, but they dominated this niche.
Yep.
And I think in our case also, we don't call it niche, it is a large space, but we are typically putting the boundaries there in that as of now.
Wonderful.
So that was, I think, one of the challenges. The other thing is we four of us come from a services industry. So we are always very eager to, suppose if somebody says that this is my problem, we want to solve it any which way, right? Whereas when you are building a SaaS product, it is very important for you to know what is your boundary and where do you say no to it.
Absolutely.
And that was very, very challenging for us for the first, because we actually went with an open Excel sheet and said that, okay, you tell me what are the 15, 20 requirements you have, and some customers.
Can you maybe dig in there a little bit? So for somebody who doesn't know that, so you're creating SaaS, right? This is software as a service.
Yeah.
It's a business model you choose
Yeah.
for software, so recurring revenue,
Yeah.
right? Which is a great business model.
Yeah.
And the market was demanding multiple things. So how did you do the decision? What did you say no to, and what did you say yes to in order to be this specific?
So it took us a lot of time. I think this is where we have struggled the most. It has taken us almost 3 to 4 years to get to that discipline, right?
Yeah.
Because initially, so when you are starting up, you of course have got significant amount of revenue pressure. You want to generate revenue, because without revenue you cannot survive,
Yes.
right? And in the urge to get revenue, you at times will say yes to most of the features, and you will not analyze, or we did not analyze that, okay, is this feature, can it be sold to 10 different customers?
Oh, that's a good distinguisher.
Yeah. So what we have now put as a discipline is that when we add a new feature, we are not saying no to that, but we will do a proper research before that, that this has got a scalability and repeatability. Because the fundamental story of the SaaS is, and actually at most of the time you need to educate the customer that I don't think you need this feature. You are rather use this feature which everybody is taking, because when you do that feature as everybody is doing, that is why you also bring more modularity and economies of scale.
Wonderful.
So I think that perspective changed for us initially, because we were so hungry to grow. So we said yes, but now we have also started saying that we are not trimming the solution. Now, in fact, we have gone to the bare minimum, that we said this is our core solution. Yes, some of the additional components we will develop, but we will also work with our other partners or ecosystem partners. For example, traceability data you need for net zero calculation. Now, earlier we were thinking, okay, we'll create a product footprint calculator also. We said, no, we will not do that. We'll just focus on traceability. We will work with a partner who has got a calculator, and he will use our data. So I think that thinking process has changed for us.
Wonderful. I think it's a great approach. So congrats on that one.
Thank you.
A lot of people fail on that one.
Yes.
And never create a product. They create an offering that might look like a product, but doesn't solve the same need, the same gain, right? For a lot of companies out there in order to be the real SaaS business, right?
Yeah.
And once you figured that out, so how did you bring it to the market, right? After this first 1-2 customers that sign up, how did you get more customers? So what's your approach on
that was very
go-to-market?
good for us, because out of the 4 founders, 2 of us are thoroughbred sales guy, and 1 guy is a solution guy, and 4th one is a technology guy. So we were actually
That's a great mix.
Yeah, it was this unit which was selling in HCL also. So when we got into TrustTrace also, I think what we did is, because we were always very focused on ARR growth and ARR, getting the ARRs done. So we always were co-creating with our customers. So we'll go to the customer and say that you need this, but can you sit together and let's co-create this solution. So what happens is that customer to whom we are co-creating with has a lot of ownership in the solution, and using that they will also spread the word. They will become the reference to other 3 customers.
They're basically helping you develop the product,
exactly,
right? For themselves.
Yes. So we call them the friends. And the first 5-6 companies like Houdini, Philippa K, Iceberg that came in, they were our biggest marketeers. While yes, we charge them very, very low money but for the service, but they were giving us marketing credits, and then we expanded from there on.
So they helped you to create the product, but you try not to get the most profit out of them in the beginning, because you wanted to create the product first, right? Get the product market fit. Yeah, that's a great strategy.
That's right. And then what happens with that is that then you start having a lot of discussion with different teams, and then I think you put something in motion there. And then you start, and for us this journey was, we started with SMB, but we had an eye toward the bigger customers, and so with this word started spreading out, and then companies such as Adidas, Decathlon, these kind of companies started reaching us, and now we actually focus on enterprise more and less on SMB because they have the most complex supply chain, large companies, and they have got supply chains which are as long as Australia, New Zealand, and all that.
So this means that you are targeting large businesses, right? You might call them elephants, right?
Yes.
Because they are probably above 100,000 euros a year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what's the range you're selling in?
So typically we are selling to companies who are more than $1 billion in revenue. Yeah. So they have got minimum around 800 to 900 suppliers with multiple different factories, and then they are typically having more than 20,000 products or SKUs.
Wonderful. So you know specifically which companies get the most value out of your product?
Yes.
And you tie the features and everything to those companies,
Yes.
so they get the most out of it.
Correct.
Wonderful.
Correct. And that is where we are now coming to the next phase. So this is what we have done. Now we are looking at the next phase of growth towards. So we'll now start packaging for mid-sized companies also. But now we have at least a good collection of large fashion brands.
Wonderful. So if you think of the challenges, right, that appeared while doing that, what was one or two of the biggest ones, and how did you overcome them?
So I think when you get a large enterprise customer, you just cannot sell a product. You have to sell a lot of services around it. And when you're a small company like this, a large system integrator like Accenture or IBM or TCS or Wipro is not interested in you. So we had to build that organization also. While we were saying that you buy my product,
Yes.
but they said that I will not just buy your product. You have to put in an integration team, an implementation team, a solutions team with us. So which meant that we had to grow our organization also there. Good thing is that we had done that in our past with services industry, so we could build it up. But I think what kept on happening is that you typically want to get your SaaS metrics very, very solid. And so it was a struggle to balance that part of it.
Wonderful.
But now what we have done is that we have actually automated the onboarding process and the implementation process using certain SaaS tools like project management tools and user guides and all that kind of thing more. But still we need to provide that service.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So talking some numbers, right? So how many years did it take you to get from here to there? How big is the company now? So just whatever you can share.
So we are around 120 odd people now.
120 people.
20
now.
people.
You started with 4, right?
We started with 4. We started in 2017 to now we are 120. We are headquartered in Sweden with a large presence in India. So India to Sweden is 80-20 kind of a split. Generally, it has always been like that there. And we are around 4 million in ARR there.
So 4 million euros in recurring revenue generated by this product.
That's right.
Wonderful. That's like amazing success so far. So congrats on that one.
Thank you.
Like I think there was a metric like only 4% of all the SaaS businesses hit the first million. Only 0.4% hit 10 million in recurring revenue. So you are exactly on that track. That's amazing.
Yeah, and what is good is that what started as a impact tech, sustainability tech kind of a situation now has converted into a regulatory tech, because now there's a lot of regulations coming on environmental, social, ethical, like the German supply chain law, like the US's UFLPA, France's AJEC law, and there's generally a lot of crackdown on greenwashing.
Yes.
So that is now pushing our platform. So I think another learning is that I think when you are building your business, you build your business for certain events that are happening around you, but always be prepared for a bigger event.
Yes.
Because I think what happened for us is when we were architecting the solution, we always believed that this is a $100 million product. And we architected the solution.
Which is a good belief.
Exactly. Yeah. Now what happened is when the regulations have come in, our product is solid. Yes, we have to add some services component, but you can scale up that team very fast. Yeah. So then we are able to capture that wave. So you have to be always build the business prepared that there is a big wave which will come, which will support you, and
it might take a long than you think,
yes,
right?
Yes, it may take, but you should always build the foundation of the business in a very solid, not only in platform wise, but people, technology, how you are building the business.
Wonderful. Yeah. And I think that's something we're looking forward to right now, right? So getting from this state where you are right now and probably during the next 5 years, I bet you could actually hit the 100 million, right? That's my personal opinion. If I watched you, right, we talked about the numbers. So best of luck on that.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing.
My pleasure. Absolutely. Good. Thank you.
Amazing.